If you check AI job postings right now, one skill keeps popping everywhere: prompt engineering. Companies are desperately searching for people who can actually talk to AI models the right way. We are talking AI engineers earning $150,000 and up, machine learning specialists designing enterprise solutions, and prompt engineers shaping how businesses use foundation models. And here's the thing, most people think prompt engineering is just typing questions into ChatGPT. It's way more than that. So in this hands-on session, we are breaking down real prompt engineering techniques using AWS Bedrock. You'll see zero-shot prompting where the AI just knows the answer, few-shot prompting where you give examples to guide it, and chain of thought prompting where it thinks step by step like a human brain. We will work with Amazon Nova, Titan models, and Anthropic Claude, the exact foundation models powering billion-dollar companies right now. And by the end of this video, you will know how to select the right model, craft effective prompts, understand tokens and latency, and test real-world scenarios like sentiment analysis and text summarization. And today's session is from our AI ML Track job-oriented program, where professionals like Utkarsh, Shrija, Mark have successfully landed high-paying roles by mastering these exact skills. And here's something exciting. We are hosting a free 90-minute masterclass where experts reveal a practical 3-step framework for landing high-paying roles. Registration link is right there in the description and pinned comments, so don't miss it. So now let's dive in and start building the real skills.
Now is a time for us to really look at experimenting with the different foundation model. To look at going to the test. So what you should do, action number 5 is to do prompt engineering. So I'll show you simple ways how you can get started. So what you will do is, now you have taken the control of the server. Now you take control of how do I test whether that model connect is working. For that, first you can click chat and text playground. I'd like to show you in a very important way that how do I really understand this particular model. So you can see that there is something called, let me pick this. You can see that there is different section of this. Let me track this down. Input, output, latency. You'll see while you're getting into the chat text playground, don't just go blindly and type something. Hold on and see the window. There is input, output, latency, as you can see. You will see select model as an option. And then you will see these two painter which are disabled. We'll come back to it in a while. Okay. So the first step for all of us while you're doing prompt engineering is basically to look at which model do you want to test as a playground. So in this case, I would recommend that you pick up one model of your choice, whatever you want, so that it's easy for you to operate. So if you ask me which model I would recommend is to select an Amazon model. Okay, and that in that you select Nova Light. For the labs, they must have selected Titan model. So how does it matter, right? Because you can pick up any of the model. Don't get very bookish by trying to follow rules to such a level. What is very important is you're picking up some text model, right? So you either pick up a Nova model or a Titan's text model, whatever you feel comfortable. I'm okay with both of, but I would prefer that always focus on the future models, which is Nova Light. So Nova Light is a text and a vision model. People are asked, there's got 300 now. You may not know what is tokens. We'll come back to it in a while. Apply it. So once you reach there, you are able to now get into a prompt window. Okay. Now here in the prompt window, you will be able to start typing a text and then it will get you an output and then you will be able to really build that prompt. And if you come and type, for example, what will you type is the next question. So there are some things which are given in your lab exercise which you can just copy paste into it, but I would recommend that let's first understand and do certain important things like zero shot prompting. So what is zero shot prompting? There is a foundation model. This is the foundation model, right? Nova Light is our foundation model. Prompt is your client. So when you give a prompt here, it will go to the Nova Light. It will give you the answer. So client input is given. It goes to the Nova Light. It responds. So this is how the prompt will work. If you type the way you want, that is called prompt. If you understand the science behind the prompt and type, it's called prompt engineering, right? So if I confuse you with big jargons, it is prompt engineering. That was on the lighter side. So let's use the first jargon, which is basically called as zero shot prompting. So in the prompt engineering, you can look at like there are zero shot prompting. Okay. Now, what is zero shot prompting? Zero shot prompting is basically when you feel that prompt also, even the foundation model has got a ego. So when you tell ego, what does it mean? I know it all type of attitude, right? You don't have to give any examples. It will, if you ask a question, it will answer, right? So let's type here, summarize. I'm just typing something, what comes to my mind. Let me come here. Summarize the benefits, okay, of regular exercise. Whatever I don't do, I'm just asking it so that I get some. So when I ask this question, summarize the benefit of regular exercise, I just told summarize the benefits of regular exercise and it gave me the answer. Okay, so here I did not tell summarize the benefit of regular exercise. Now, what I mean is exercising example one, example two, if I give, it becomes a few short prompting. Okay, so in zero shot, we just give questions. So you ask the question. Now, again, scientifically, common sense could have led you to doing from zero shot to few shot to chain of thoughts. But if you read it academically, you will get a little more confused. That's why I'm telling you take a sense of researcher brain or evangelist brain while you're initially onto this window. Just type whatever you feel. Ask it about politics, ask it about text, ask it about that, this, do the lab, whatever it is. But ultimately, use Nova Light or a Titan text, okay, to just go and ask a lot of questions. So practice zero shot prompting to get started. Let's go back one, give me a second. Okay, so we are here now. When you see, when you got the answer, you could copy this chat. Okay, you could see the metrics, caching metrics, read tokens. You would see that the input was 10. We'll talk about what is 10 and all. Output was 2 not. So many tokens were exchanged for this. How much time did it take to do it? It is 847 milliseconds. Watch these things like how the foundation. Now you're reading Transformers theory. Practically, you can see how the client connected to the server. And then you can see here, there's a clear latency is the time, the delay it takes while you gave the request to the time you received the answer. That is called latency. You can also see that there is an icon here which is basically you can attach a file, and for example you have a Word document or something, you can attach, you can upload a file and then you can run it and tell summarize this for me. You can do such kind of activities also. Okay, so experiment. Prompt engineering have to be learned not with few labs, not by trying to do what I am telling. You have to really take your own approach to understand what's happening around. Okay, and don't miss the pieces around you, right? So because here you can see there are a lot of options. There is also option here called build, right? If you click the build, it'll go to some API keys. Let's ignore it for a while. Let's get back here to the chat, select the model, Amazon, we'll go to Nova Light, apply, okay, and then let's repeat this because I'm going to change the prompt next for you to practice the next type of prompting, okay. So you type whatever you want, I will not, okay, and just understand what and all is happening. And if you come to the left hand side, you will see that there are a lot of these things happening here, which is called randomness and diversity, top P. And you might be curious, what is temperature? What is top P? What is guardrails? Okay, we will learn all of them one by one, but you are observing it, how many output tokens, What is the stop sequence? These are parameters in the prompt engineering. Just learn them. So you are just typing one single benefits of regular action, seeing so many terminologies, make a note of that. We will learn about what they are as we go forward. After you have finished it, let's give an example of a few short prompting, okay? So that all of you can understand. Um, so what I will do is I'm going to copy paste just to save time, something like this. So classify the sentiment of the following text as positive, negative, or neutral. Okay. Text, I love the new phone. Sentiment is positive. The weather is just okay. Sentiment is uh, neutral. I am not happy with the service. Give me the sentiment. So if you type like this, it will classify it as sentiment is negative. Now you should understand, in the case of few shot prompting, unlike zero shot prompting, you will give some examples for a foundation model as a context. For example, if you are telling it like, please do this for me, while you're answering it, these are some good reference point for this. You should refer and answer it. Okay, if you search on the Google, you will find hundreds of different texts which are available for you to copy paste into the Nova Lite and practice. Ideally, that is the way I learned prompt engineering. I just went through the guide, the prompt engineering guide. Google search, I'll figure out a lot of text. I did my own intuitive learning through the prompt engineering, right? That is the best way to know. But to register that these terminologies, what is this few shot, what is that shot, you must just give some initial example. If you come down here, classify the sentiments. Again, you can see that the input token is now 444, output is 85, smaller one, latency is 503 milliseconds it took. And again, you can go ahead and do a lot more interesting work here. This is called few shot prompting. Now you can also do instruction based prompting. We'll just at this point ignore it because you can't really look at everything today. So let's look at classification, a different example apart from this. Let me pick up something else. Chain of thought prompting. So that is the third type, right? So we have zero shot, we have uh, few shot, we have chain of thought. Now, chain of thought is when you want to, let's take an example. You want to think step by step, right? So I'm just going to paste something here. I had 32 chocolates. My sister gave me 42 chocolates, 42 more. We ate 35. How many chocolates do we have left? Let's think step by step. There is a practical use case which we can get into next stage, but now you are having fun with this. So what it does is it's quickly is applying the entire step by step how to do, and this is a way by which we think as an example of a chain of thought. Okay, now what happens in chain of thought is it will do step by step thinking to your problem solving. Now initially when you get started with the text based model, it's a good idea for you to really start understanding. So suppose I take this entire text. Now I'm giving you one more because this are recorded, and tell please summarize this for me in 2 lines. Suppose I tell this. Now it is able to summarize the entire paragraph into 2 sentences. So it is reading a big paragraph. So book reviews today. Instead of reading the book, if you tell I'm giving you the PDF of the book, can you tell me a quick summary of what this book is all about? I can save my time. So when you're operating these kind of foundation models, you will be able to test a lot of these foundation model, the text models. So you can give a good name like zero shot, few shot, chain of thought, one example, and the summarizations. There are various categories of prompt engineering. Okay, we will have to take one at a time. Don't take everything. But this is an example of a light, which is a text-based prompt. So you can also change in case you don't like this particular type of model. You can just shift from the chat text, select a different model, maybe from Anthropic. Okay, you can select the Claude model, okay, or something which is available for you to use, right? Because not all of them. I'm sure that text Haiku is very famous. You can use this model, and then maybe you can upload a file, right? For example, I just tell upload this file, and I just tell summarize. So what happens is it can read the file, and it's able to really summarize me what is there in the file, etc. in a very instance form. Can the shots in the form of image or just have to be text? Now that's a very important question. Whenever you're in the Bedrock, what did I tell you from the beginning? You will decide which model to use. How will you decide which model to use? It depends on the modality. So not all models will be able to do everything. So the model which I have selected currently was text based. So if you pass to the text based, the image kind, it's not going to give you what you are asking. So you have to switch over from the text based to the image model. So that is the reason that you can also ask any image related questions. Before that, before we go to the image, which is our next topic, you also understand that when you're selecting the model, the most advanced model which is there today on the earth is these Sonnet model and the Haiku. So I would want, like, if you're testing it with Nova Lite or the Titans Lite text model or Titan Express, whatever you want, I would recommend that you will also use an Anthropic some text model. Maybe I would suggest that you take a Haiku model, apply it, and you can give it a. Now you might ask, what is the difference? How do I know what is the difference between them? These things you will know. That is the very attention to details. At this point, you will not be able to differentiate what this text model, what that text model is. But in case you're interested to do that, what you should do is to get into the provider. For example, if I was you, I will go into the model catalog, go to the provider, and I will select Amazon. And if I'm using this model called Nova Lite, I can click this, okay? And then I can customize it. There's an option which I'm not going to do. You can you can open this in the playground. There is also information available on the Nova Lite. For example, if I come down here and tell Amazon Nova Lite, right? So it will tell you very detailed information about how this different Nova Lite works. So if you just learn more, it will just tell you what these models is going to really do, what are the key capabilities, etc. So you can switch over and learn more about that model, and then you'll be able to explore. So when you are the text model, don't think images anything, right? That is the reason that I was telling you use Nova, because it gives you that variety what you actually wanted for you to test. So be in the chat, select the model. You can select any of them you want. Please don't feel that you should select only this or that. But I would recommend that if you want to stick to some plan, you can select a Titan Text G1 Premier, or you can select the Nova Lite, which is very standard. In your lab text, if they put some models, by the time the lab was created, by the time the interface changes, there could be some mismatch. Don't expect verbatim. But ultimately, what I'm showing you is what is available in AWS today. So that will work for you for sure. Difference between models, it will take some time. There is very thin line between the models, like what is difference between Amazon. So you don't do this apple to apple comparison generally. But in general, there is a pattern which you will register after you explore. So if you ask ChatGPT, can you give me difference between all the different service provider? It will give you a good summary, but that will confuse you further. At this point, just use these models, test out this model with zero shot. I want you to test zero shot, few shot, okay. And third, you also try out a chain of thought step by step. Some examples which are available directly through the lab or what I've shown you, just type them. You can ask any questions, step by step questions. How do I do this, etc., etc. Okay. Now, what is tokens? Asma is asking, what is token? Token is the way by which everything in the generative AI will work. From the client to the server, the tokens. There's the input tokens, there is an output tokens. That is how the entire charging happens. We'll talk about tokens in maybe in the subsequent sessions. But if you are very curious, if I put Bedrock pricing, it's a great way to really look at Bedrock pricing, right? So if I just put this link to back to you, okay, and what does pricing means? Because end of the day, commercial is very important. It will talk about down different particular model, different type of input token pricing. For up to 1,000 input tokens, the price looks in few cents, very few cents. The ultimate problem is as you start using the model, they grow very exponentially and then you will get charged. So that is why don't take it for granted that if you're using any foundation model, using any vector after you finish that POC or project, you should delete it off unless you're using it for a production or POC, right? So these are tokens. So what are tokens? Are primary or a simple unit of measurement of how the foundation model is exchanging. After you have tried this out, uh, you can also go to the image playground. So what is the difference between this? The models, what will come here will be different, right? So understand somebody was asking, can I also ask images? You should ask the right model, the right kind of questions. So if you want to generate an image, go for the categories like using service provider like Amazon or Stability AI. They show up in this. You can use Nova Canvas, which is a really good model, which I could recommend. Okay, you can also use the Titan image generator G1, which is something which will be there for your labs. So you can try. I am going to show you Nova Canvas. You try it with image generator as in the lab. You can apply it. If you come here you can ask question, can you draw a picture of a doctor, for example? I'm just showing. It will start creating the imaging aspect of things so that you will be able to also see that the prompts here canvas is specialized for doing things which are specific to imaging. So it's able to quickly draw me some pictures, and now you can be very creative, right? You can tell it to start this, draw that, draw this. Okay, there is no end to this kind of a storyline. Our objective is not this, but once you see here, you also observe the properties. So in a text prompting, these declarative, these are the only things you can control. Most of the things is behind the scenes for you. So your transformer architecture, your encoding, decoding, where is the back propagation algorithm, nothing you will do. So you are an end user enjoying your life. Even if you are a developer in generative AI, you will still be only calling the APIs. The real crux of the matter is if you have to understand the subject is when these topics are very useful. Okay. Now, if you really look at Canvas, is more of drawing. You can upload an image if you want, and then tell that you can condition the image. And once you get the image, you can actually generate variations for the image if you want. You can remove and replace background. All this you can do. If you want, you can download the image. Okay. In case you want to really tell that this image was generated by this foundation model, not copied from the Google, you can use functionality like your features like watermark detection, which is we'll come back later. At this point, just play around with the image. Whatever comes to your mind, you type first. Okay. So there is a serious prompter kind of role which are prompt engineers. So once in a while, I was told to write a job description for prompt engineer. What will he do in a project? That was a very exciting role for me to write two paragraphs about it. So what I wrote was to tell that how do I used it more for a fine tuning. So if you have a foundation model, I'm able to ask relevant questions to see whether it is able to answer all my. If wherever it is not answering, it means those are the gaps. Is there a way to really master this in an easy way? Initially, don't try to get into those easy ways. First, know the model catalog, go to the chat text playground, have your own first hand experience about chat text playground, image video playground.
So that's it for today. You just learned the core techniques that separate beginners from professionals in prompt engineering. And before you go, don't miss our free 90-minute masterclass where experts reveal the exact 3-step framework helping our students land high-paying AI jobs. Register through the link in the description or in the pinned comments. And also, if you found this video helpful, share it with someone who's grinding to break into AI. And if you got any questions about prompt engineering or AWS Bedrock, drop them in the comments below. We read every single one and we'll get back to you. So thanks for watching and make sure that you check out this video next.